I call to order, return to the council meeting of mayor and council, May 23rd, 2022, regular meeting. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bastide? Here. Councilman Canigo?
Here.
Council President Kaufman?
Here.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Here.
Councilwoman Malolari?
Here.
Councilwoman Montesano Cohen is absent. Mayor Papaleo?
Here. Okay, could I have a motion and second to approve the meeting, the minutes of the mayor and council regular and closed session meeting of May 9th, 2022?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, so let's just get those on the record. Ann, did you get both?
Yes.
Great. Any opposed? All right, then. Now we move to proclamations. And what's going to happen is Councilwoman Kinsella is going to join me. She's going to read out the names because I would do terrible things to your names. And and we're going to call the coaches up. I don't have a list of the coaches' names, so when we call, we're going to start with the 7th grade boys travel team. So if we could have the coaches come up immediately, that'd be great. We're just going to slip in behind you. There we go. Now, so we have a camera there and a camera there. That one's on, so if I can ask you guys to step back. And what we'll do is we're going to call up, Councilwoman Kinsella is going to call up each member to receive their award, and if they could stay up once they come up. Is that all right with everybody? That's great. So I'm going to read it into the record first, okay? Certificate of recognition. The mayor and council of the Borough of River Edge are proud to present this certificate, and Councilwoman Kinsella is going to read the name, in recognition of the River Edge Boys Basketball League 7th grade travel team for winning the Bergen Travel Basketball League's Air Force Division Championship. So let's have a round of applause for that.
Ayush Pandya.
Hold on.
Ayush Pandya.
Ayush, congratulations. Thank you.
Dario Uzel. Michael DeGrow.
Congratulations, Michael.
Nick Clark.
Congratulations.
Ethan Wigdor.
Ethan, congratulations.
Lincoln Walker.
Hey, congratulations.
Hunter Barone.
Congratulations.
Henry Arturi. Anthony Perea. Charlie Orsino.
Charlie, congratulations.
Muhammad Ali Bascom. Addie Timon.
So, if we could, if one of the coaches would like to say a few words about the league, about the championship, about, no? The coaches are very, very proud.
I just want to say the boys had a great season. It was great to watch them, succeed. They went, I guess, 14-0. So just proud of them.
Mine's like 45 minutes. I'm sorry. No, just a great group of guys. Had them since they were, 5 years old. Now they're 13 years old. But I want to say a big thanks to, this is on camera.
Yes, it
Brent
is.
Walker, do you hear me? He's the main reason. He's the head coach. So, yeah, he's not here. He's he's a great job with the Dodgers. So just wanted to say great kids and looking forward to many more memories with these kids. So, thank you.
Gentlemen, if you want to take a quick picture with your coach, Coach, why don't you move center? A couple of people can take some pictures with the seal in the back.
I might not be able to get up.
Come on. Nice. Nick, do I get them? One more.
All right. There you are.
I'll text.
Yeah, I got it. Let's go, because I'm poor.
Okay, could we have the coaches for the Regals 4th grade girls? So let me read the certificate into the record, and then we'll start with the certificates for the coaches, and then we'll move on to the players. Okay. Certificate of recognition. The mayor and council of the Borough of River Edge are proud to present this certificate to, and each name will be read out, in recognition of the River Edge Girls Athletic League 4th grade travel team for winning the Bergen Travel Basketball League's Army Division 2021-2022 championship, and congratulate them for their outstanding record of 15-1. That's outstanding.
Coach Ray Saros. Coach Dean Rayside. Coach Mark Donalgan. He's not. Okay.
We're going to give that to you.
That was a hard one.
Coach Paul Victory. Players, Abby Butler. Ava Conway. Emma Gibson. Mia Pescatori. Caitlin Rayside. Anna Sansevere. Aileen Searles. Shailene Talty. And Kaylee Victory.
All right, coaches, a few words or not?
I'll be honest.
No, it's on.
We started the year. I said to the girls, this season's going to end with you winning a championship. Because I wanted these girls to take the court with a ton of confidence in themselves. We showed up from the first day wearing shirts that said, "This is our time," and they did just that. They started off the year 6-0. Had their only loss of the season by one point, and there was a shot that we hit after the buzzer that didn't count. But it was one of those losses as a team that really turned the team around. We won 7 straight after that and went into the playoffs and won in convincing fashion with a 25-11 win over Old Tapan and a 22-8 win in the championship against Glen Rock. These girls are the toughest girls in the town of River Edge, 100%, and I'm super proud of them.
now is coaches in the back, girls move up a little bit. And
Not enough for me to hide.
We go, Hawks.
see you next year, maybe.
16-0.
Could I have the could I have the 4th grade boys travel team coaches? Coaches for the 4th grade boys travel team.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
We're gonna just allow that to settle and then we'll
As you can tell.
Oh, we see we can make the corrections, but we need to No,
dry in here.
Could you come on over here? One of these for Marty Jones. He's going to give you his name right now.
I'll just write it out for you if you want. It makes it easy. Thanks.
Dude, the coaches for the 7th grade.
Should we contact you when it's ready?
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we want to make sure everything's. We're good? All right, let me read the first one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is read into the record the certificate of recognition. The mayor and council of the Borough of River Edge are proud to present this certificate to, and of course everybody's name is going to be written, in recognition of the River Edge Boys Basketball League 4th grade travel team for winning the Bergen Travel Basketball League Air Force East Division Championship. So, first of all, let's start with a round of applause for their achievement.
Head coach Craig Arcanal.
Congratulations.
And the players, Luke Arcanal. Arcanal. Okay, can't say it.
Congratulations, Luke. Great job.
Corey Barone.
Congratulations, Corey. There you go. Great job.
Christopher Cha.
Congratulations. Great job.
Patty Joyce. Braden Cope.
Braden, congratulations.
Luke Koth. Aiden Manachio. Edgar Kenoy. And Dante Stramiello.
So, one last time, congratulations to the whole team on their achievement. Coach, would you like to to say a few words, talk about their achievement and what this season was like?
First and foremost, we are both very proud of these boys. They played their hearts out. I think going into the season, we certainly didn't have any expectations of winning a championship. Marty and I have been coaching together for a few years now. Our expectations are always just team first, have each other's backs, good sportsmanship, and always give 110%, right guys? Especially at practices. You know that, otherwise they run. They win a lot. But honestly, I mean, they really did. They stepped up. They came into it, not as a team, but they left as a team by the end of the year. Even so, in the championship game, it was back and forth, and then we saw ourselves down, right? The last couple of minutes looked a little dire, but each one of you guys stepped up, played hard, and we came out with a championship, which is always nice. But we're more proud of you guys just for your level of effort and really becoming a team overall. So, love you guys. Nice job. We'll see each other next season.
Center, boys move forward. Very good. Remember to hold up your... Boys, focus. Well done. See you here next year? Yeah. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. All good.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks for coming.
Oh, you're welcome.
The one kid, Emma Stevens, right? She lives on my block. I know her parents and stuff. And I was so excited to put down her name that I said her last name incorrectly. I'm like, what?
Try it.
Do you want me to? Yes.
Yes.
Get the Sunday.
That next t-shirt. I know.
I wasn't going to make you stand here by yourself.
Okay. So, last but not least, we have a proclamation recognizing National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Would you like to say a few words, Kara, before or after I read the proclamation, or not at all?
Yeah, after.
Very, very good. So, Kara, I'm going to let you introduce yourself at the end, okay? Okay, great. Proclamation. Whereas every day, 100 Americans are killed by gun violence, and on average, there are nearly 13,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas Americans are 25 times more likely to be murdered with guns than people in other developed countries. And whereas protecting public safety in the communities they serve is the mayor's highest responsibility. And whereas support for the Second Amendment right of law-abiding citizen goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from dangerous people. And whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all we can to keep firearms out of the wrong hands and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our children safe. Now, therefore, I, Thomas Papaleo, Mayor of the Borough of River Edge, do hereby proclaim June 3rd, 2022 as National Gun Violence Aware Day.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kara O'Donnell. I want to thank the mayor and council for the proclamation for National Gun Violence Awareness Day. And just for everybody that's interested, they can look up the information on wearorange.org and find out more about this cause and awareness, being a member of Moms Demand Action. So thank you so much.
I would just add that River Edge is so fortunate to have residents like Kara and several others that have really stepped up and made our community be more aware about gun violence and how to get involved to prevent it through Moms Demand Action. If it wasn't for Kara and the other advocates in our community, I know Beth Canigo as well, we wouldn't be as aware as we are, so thank you very much.
Jason still coming?
Our Jason's not sure, he'll try to make it.
What?
Our Jason will try to make it.
What about the other Jason?
Oh, I saw Rob.
No, Bob is not.
Oh, Robin's in here?
Yeah.
Great. I mislaid my cover page. Can I borrow yours? Thank you. All right. So now we have a presentation by Robert Costa, Borough Engineer, Voorhees Avenue Project. Where's Robert?
I saw him in the hallway.
Yeah, do you want to see?
Okay. Here he comes. And Jason is coming. Good. Rob.
Mayor, good evening. Council, good evening.
And Greg,
Seth,
right?
good evening.
Hello, stranger.
Good evening. You're laughing, even behind the mask.
Rob and Greg, if you would, for the record, introduce yourselves, your full names, and who you represent.
Mayor, good evening. My name is Robert Costa, and up until December 31st, unless you don't reappoint me, I'm your engineer until at least after you fire me. Greg is from my office. Greg is an engineer. He's been with me for some time, and actually a River Edge resident.
Great.
So he has a little stake in the game if he does things incorrectly. Jason, where are you? Don't sit back there. Come forward.
Jason, come on up. Grab a chair, pull in. And just introduce yourself for the record, Jason.
Gotta get on that next, Rob.
Jason Melito, Superintendent, River Edge Department of Public Works.
Good. So to give a little background, the people of Voorhees have had some flooding issues. And correct me if I misrepresent anything. And those flooding issues have been somewhat historical. And of recent date, they've become more severe. And part of that is due to the way our storm drain system currently works, which was great for 100 years, but not in our current climate situation. Would you say that that's correct, Mr. Costa?
Sounds, I would say yes. Mayor.
Very good. So if you could, for the council and for the public's benefit, talk to us about what we think we can do to mitigate this issue. Now, we're not going to solve it. We can never solve weather events, especially when hurricanes come. But what can we do to mitigate so that on the normal summer downpour, we don't have one block in the town experiencing property loss while almost no other block in town experiences the same.
All right. If I can, and I would imagine everybody's from Voorhees. Raise your hands. The good news is I had nothing to do with the pipes that went in probably 30 years ago.
Rob, I'm going to give you this simply so that for the YouTube record, now it won't do a lot on the mics, but it will be a lot for the record.
So obviously, everybody's been down there. Past storms, obviously, getting worse and worse as time goes on, whether it's climate change, whether it's whatever it can be. Where you are, you're not in the floodplain. So as far as the floodplain, you're not influenced by any of that. Basically what happens, as you come through Memorial Park, as you go north, Oradell, so some of the water that's coming into you comes from Oradell, comes down, meanders its way into actually your backyards. So the idea was many years ago, there was a project that actually piped the stream that was in there. There's 72-inch pipes and 48-inch pipes that actually run through your property and then back into the open ditch south of Kensington. That heads south towards Wayne Avenue to the pump station. In your area, obviously, it's the lowest part of the bowl. That's where you're experiencing, obviously, the most flooding. So, with the mayor, with the council, we've had some meetings to come up with a solution to try to mitigate it, we're not going to eliminate it, but we're certainly going to try to mitigate it. Not solve it, as the mayor said earlier, but try to do something so you don't have this chronic flooding when you have these catastrophic storms. So the idea is, I sat down with the staff in my office, Greg is an engineer again in my office, Jason, another engineer in my office, and we try to brainstorm some stuff. So here, and obviously with Jason, the head of the DPW. So the idea is roughly 900 linear feet of 60-inch pipe that we're going to bury in the grass area. So that's going to take in a little bit of storage, roughly 1,800 cubic feet, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So roughly 1,800 cubic feet, take that number, times it by roughly 8, that's how many gallons that pipe will store. As the storm comes in, these pipes fill up, and then we'll have an overflow. We're going to run a pipe basically down the Oak Avenue, and then come in on the south side of Wayne Avenue. So we're proposing a 36-inch pipe, and then come out at the south end of the pump station on the south side of Wayne Avenue, because there's actually capacity on the south side of that. So the choke point is at the north side by the pump station. Choke point is also on Kensington, because the pipe was laid roughly 2 feet higher, so you don't have perfect gravity flow going through there. So with those two things, 36-inch pipe at 1%, and we're pretty sure we can get a 1% pitch on the pipe, so it'll be gravity, will roughly carry 1.8 million gallons in an hour. You take that number, plus the additional storage, it should relieve at least, you probably had about 4 foot of flooding, give or take, because I know Greg and some of my staff interviewed a lot of the neighbors, how high did it go? So we try to come up with basically an area of flooding, and by calculating those numbers, we feel that this is going to be a solution to your problem. At least to a point where it's not going to impact your houses, your cars. You're still going to have some flooding there if we have these catastrophic storms, but it will at least eliminate the water going into your first floor of the houses. Now, we'd also like to look at the houses to make sure if you have lower windows, basements, this and that, to make sure that if it does come up, it at least doesn't get into your basement area unless it obviously comes through either the floor of the basement or the walls of the basement. But that's the idea. The council, I believe, is funding this.
We are.
And we are in full motion to get this out, finish the plans, get it bid, and get this under construction.
Rob, if the bids come in within the budget, when would you guess, and we're going to hold you to it, that construction would begin?
If we can get this, and again, it's up obviously to the council and to yourself, Mayor, if we can get these plans finished,
It's early July.
let's
Maybe?
say July. If we can get this on the street in July,
Okay. And so that would be then, what, a 4-week, 6-week, 8-week construction period?
2 weeks to have it out to bid, minimum,
Yeah.
which I think this is fine, 2 to 3 weeks to receive bids. Once you receive bids, go over the bid, make sure that it's proper, that there's the proper insurance, proper contracts, get it in front of the council. If they award the project, you're probably looking at a September start, I would think.
So I want to explain to those present as well as those who are on YouTube. So it's been put into the capital budget, but the capital budget is simply that, a budget. We're putting money aside to achieve this goal. But once we have to receive the bids, and which I think should be no problem, and then we would have to authorize it. And that authorization is what allows the contractor to begin to arrange it on the schedule and begin to move equipment out there and to try to get it done as quickly and efficiently as possible. If all things are, all things being equal, not the earliest completion date, not the latest completion date, and we're not going to hold you to it, but ballpark, if things go well, when do you think this would be complete?
I would say this should be complete. If we start construction sometime in September, I can't imagine we're going past November. So I would say by November, we should be complete.
So we're talking about construction in September, October, done by November.
Right. The biggest challenge right now, by today, we have construction going in not only this town and other towns. Today's problem was we couldn't get concrete.
Yeah.
So the issue is the supply chain and we can't get baby formula. I mean, just so think about the stuff that's going on today. You can't buy a car. You can't, so until you don't know what's going to hold you up. It's not like years ago where you needed a 36-inch pipe. You call in the morning, it's delivered in the afternoon. So you have to be patient with what's going on with our country and the world right now.
And to back you up, I believe that we were putting in a curb down on River Edge Road next to the train station, and the curb was ready to be filled with concrete, and no concrete came. And it wasn't yesterday either. We had it over the weekend. So, barring the supply chain, it's reasonable to think that we would be done by November.
Yes.
All right. Greg and Jason, is there anything you guys want to add?
I think he explained it all, man.
All right, so now I'd like a motion from the council to open up to the public on this issue only. Could I have a motion from the council?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Questions?
What did you say, 900 feet, 900 linear feet? 60 inch. You have to give your name and address, please. Oh, sorry. Tim O'Donnell.
Is the green light still on? No. Hold it down.
Tim O'Donnell, 150 Voorhees Avenue. You said 900 linear feet running down Oak, correct?
No. In the, excuse me, in the grass areas,
The paper streets.
in the paper streets.
From the park up to Kensington.
From Manning.
So it's one paper street.
Two.
Okay, so then so going into Kensington, then that'll be the second one. And what's happening there with the bottleneck? So that's going straight out then to Oak?
No. We're going to have a 36-inch pipe run down from there as an overflow to the south side of Wayne Avenue down Oak.
So basically, the conduit that's there now is going to stay in place.
Absolutely.
That kind of defeats the purpose. That's where the issue is. All of that water is coming from Fifth and Elm, straight down the back of the creek, creating a wall on everything coming from the park. So even if you put another 900 feet, you still, how are you defeating the wall that's created there?
Because you're going to separate it. So you
Okay, so then you have a retention, right? So then you have retention.
You're going to have detention,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're going to have an overflow going down Oak. So you're still going to have the same conduit as you have today, and you're going to have an additional conduit going down Oak. So you're going to separate, and you're going to have two highways going down, so to speak.
Hitting the same wall.
No.
Okay.
The current 72
Yep.
goes into the open ditch, hits the wall at the north side of Wayne Avenue.
Okay.
The 36 that we're proposing is going to the south side of Wayne Avenue. That's
The only reason I'm asking is because you got a complete bottleneck there, and then you got two sharp rights getting out onto the Oak Creek, which is actually a ditch. It's not even the back of the houses are running. What is that, Oak? Yeah, running on Oak. That's what we're relying.
You have two. Where's the other one? You have one that's going through the back of the houses, making a left-hand turn, heading east, then making a right-hand turn and heading south.
That's what I'm talking about. That's going into the ditch on Oak.
Correct. That's a 48-inch pipe, if I'm not mistaken. Correct.
So you're adding a 60,
We're adding 60 for storage capacity.
okay? And then what's there right
And we're
now?
adding a 36 as an overflow going down,
Tying back into a 36.
no,
Okay.
tying to the south end of Wayne. So that's where it opens up. The north end of Wayne, by the pump station, is where you have a smaller pipe. That's your choke point. You have two choke points.
Yeah.
You have a choke point because when it was built back, again, I don't know exactly when this was built, it was before my time, but the actual pipe is 2 feet, the ditch is 2 feet higher than the pipe. So the 72 is really not a 72-inch pipe,
All right, I got you.
okay? because you're going uphill.
All right, so it's
So
5
until that fills up, it doesn't spill out. So what we're doing is adding storage capacity and then bypassing around down Oak to the south side of Wayne. And you're going to be able to move roughly 1.8 million gallons in an hour. So again, depending on the storm, let's say the storm we had, Ida, was probably 6 inches in 45 minutes. So you guys had roughly 4 feet of flooding. So if you take that number, take the drainage area that flooded, come up with, let's say, 2 foot of overall flooding, you have a capacity there. That was the storage in that area, right?
Right, yeah.
So this area flooded, take the depth of flooding, take the square footage, you come up with a number. We're going to be able to move that number south, to the south side, because the south side wasn't flooded of
But
Wayne.
I thought the firehouse got flooded down there.
The south side of Wayne was not flooded.
Okay.
As far as the firehouse, you're in a different place.
But everything's going into the Hackensack River somewhere, right?
Everything is going to the Hackensack River, correct? Correct.
So I'm just saying, like, if the south side kicks back, then what we're doing is useless.
But the backwater didn't go from the firehouse to this area.
Oh, no, but all the other water coming from north came down to us.
The water from the north came to you.
Right.
Okay? So everything that drains into the park area, everything that drains from Bogart, everything that drains from Fifth, funnels down, hits to you, and the conduit keeps going. The backwater effect from the Hackensack River through Coles, Johnson Avenue, did not cause this, because the south side of Wayne Avenue is open.
The south side of Wayne is open, right?
It's open.
Okay.
It's an open conduit.
What's it being used for now?
Well, there's not enough drainage area to fill that up.
So we're going to tap into that.
You're tapping into that. And we're creating additional storage.
No, I got you there. But is that going to create an issue for them down the road?
No.
And now, another question I have, is there anything that we can get our hands on to offset any of this cost? As far as...
We can have our BA speak to that, but there was a grant which is offsetting the cost. Wasn't there Build Back Better that we are kind of working, at least that was my understanding.
So we initially thought when the American Rescue Plan funds came out, under the interim rule, they said it can only be used for stormwater, broadband, and another type of capital project. But then when the final rules came out, they said it could be used to help offset revenue, because whenever you are using federal funds for a specific project, you have to have federal laws as part of the bid specs and additional personnel that we don't have to oversee the project. It overcomplicates the project. It works for big cities. So with all the extra requirements, that would have tied up the funds well past the deadline that we had to award a contract. So the cleanest way to use those funds was to use it for revenue loss that helped with the down payment of our overall capital plan. And we have that spread out over 3 years as opposed to just one project, which with all the reporting requirements, any slight deviation, any error, the feds pull that money back.
So we do have that money, and we're using it in the budget. We're just not using it directly so that we don't get overregulated.
So basically, very little funding from the federal government, whether it be DEP or EPA or the infrastructure bill, or the $10 million from the DEP, the billion from the infrastructure. We're not getting our hands on any of it?
The infrastructure bill, well, that's the American Rescue Plan funding. Anything grant related, that you're in competition and you would delay the process. This would, based on what the borough engineer explained, would be shovel ready, subject to the supply chain before the next storm at the trend that we're going through.
All right, and then the final question I have, sorry guys.
Make sure the mic is still on.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know why it keeps doing that.
I think I speak loud enough.
Final question, and what are we doing as far as the pump station that's there? The quote-unquote archaic pump station.
Jason or Rob?
I don't know why you would say it's archaic. That was done years ago.
That was done back in 2006.
What was done to it?
It's brand new.
Brand new.
It's all
It's brand new.
Yeah.
I was under the impression it was not.
We had pumps taken out of the
Pumps were
actual
taken.
well.
That was
And now they're wet pumps. That's all brand new.
That's good news.
amazing. The Engineers Society actually gave me an award for that. You'd be surprised, but they actually did.
See that? I don't have your Facebook page. I didn't see it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else like to ask a question or make a comment? Remember, you need to give your full name and address. Make sure the green light is on.
Okay, Eric. Eric Nealis, 151 Voorhees. Okay, so we've discussed that this project, let's say, God willing, be done November in time, but in the meantime, we have, an entire summer to be terrified, or hurricane season approaching. Obviously, that storm hit September 1st.
Right.
So my question is that this summer we have to, sort of say our prayers and do what we have to do. But one of my questions is that there's been sort of a rumor circulating, not a rumor, but this word, and I'd like to hear a more definitive answer, that 10 years ago, when we had the flood on Voorhees, it had been 20 years since those pipes had been scoped and cleaned out. And when that happened in 2011, they had come on Voorhees and they had cleaned it out very much. We had many, many trucks take debris out. I mean, at least 72 hours of cleaning. So what we've heard on Voorhees is that it has been scoped and that, shockingly, after 10 years, that there is no debris that has to be removed. Now, I'm only saying that because when this summer comes, everybody on our block wants those pipes to be cleaned and clear to get as much flow as we possibly can before the work starts. So my question is, is that survey been done, and should we not expect anything to be cleaned out?
I haven't, I believe.
Jason, you want to take that one?
Yes.
Jason,
we
you're going to either take that mic or speak through that mic. Is the green light on?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, we're going to have to get this replaced.
So, with relations to that, we had National Water Main come out and look at the pipes. We only had 3 inches of debris on the bottom of the pipe. The problem is, once we clean that 3 inches of debris out, all you're going to do is get more debris from the top to come back down. Within one storm, it's going to be back. The sediment runs the whole pipe length. So if you go from, I believe, Jefferson all the way down, you have sediment of 3 inches, 3 to 4 inches. So what happens is if you clean all the pipe out up to, say, Manning, you'll get all that out. First storm that comes through, that debris field is just going to come right back in. It was not enough. He even said it's not worth it. It was not enough. It's not major blockages in there. So it was looked at. We continually look at it for you, and we continually clean the storm
All right,
drains.
so really, going forward, June, July, August, September, October, again, we're going to hit hurricane season, as we always do. This was a major hurricane, a once-in-a-lifetime hurricane, hopefully. But in terms of what we have this summer, we can all say that, to the best that we can have it, we're ready going forward until the project starts.
Exactly. And if you remember, it was 10 years ago, I was running for council, and I came and met with you guys, and we were able to get that done that year. But, and you made mention of the multiple trucks that were taking stuff out. Those pipes were actually pretty much clogged from bottom to top.
Yes.
And we don't have that situation right now. So I want to reassure you of that.
That's absolutely. I mean, after a decade, you're saying, all right, well, it's not going to be the top, but, as I said, it's just something that we're on our own this summer, so to speak. And, we just want to make sure that before the project starts, you're telling me on September 1st, hey, we've got another hurricane coming down the block here, and we just want to make sure that, hey, we're at the best place we can be before this starts.
Understood.
And if anything changes in that case, if you guys do find something and say, hey, it's July 30th, it's been 2 months since we had this council meeting, hey guys, on Voorhees Avenue, we're going to be doing this, this, and this, just to clean stuff up, we would appreciate that. Because again, it's not to be flippant about it, but even last night, when we had that little storm at 7 o'clock in the morning, I was like a little bit of a flashback, with the wind and the rain coming down. And I have to be honest, for all of us at this sitting here, that night was goddamn hell. And in myself, I had not been interviewed. I had water come into my basement that was one step away from coming into my kitchen. I had 3 locations where the water came in, my 2 crawl spaces, and my window broke. So at the end of the day, you know, thank God, you know, FEMA helped me and whatever, but at the end of the day, it's goddamn traumatic. You know, and at the end, 10 years ago, you know, I remember it then, but in my case, I've been living in that house, my parents, myself, for 40 years. I've lost 4 cars since I moved there. And a lot of people have lost a lot of stuff here. So at the end of the day, we want to thank you for doing this. And you have to understand our concern, our panic.
Yeah.
And, you know, at the end of the day, we're going to Home Depot and we're buying, like, you know, these little inflatable sandbags. Yeah. My friend Nick does it. So at the end of the day, you know, we're going to do the best we can. But anything you guys can think of, and you hear something coming down the pipe, you let all of us know.
Okay.
And we look forward to getting this bloody thing finished.
We're going to get this done.
Okay.
We're going to get it done, and like I said, I don't think I'm going to solve the problem, but I'm going to get it to a point where you guys are not going to have that panic in your minds.
Just so you also know, there's also a basin program, a cleaning program every year now. Back in the days, we never had that. So every basin was packed to the top. So of course, you were getting debris field that came from north down south. So every time it would rain, it would flush pipes. So now, we actually have, once a year, we go around, clean all the basins, all the pipes. So that helped out a lot, especially with these bigger pipes that they dump into. So.
Just before, and, I can't think of the gentleman's name. This is many years ago. There was only one inlet at the bottom of Voorhees. If the leaves got on top of that, the water didn't drain. So I don't know if you remember that. Then we put in additional inlets to try to eliminate that problem. But again,
unfortunately,
Well,
it
today
seemed
that
to
pushes up through there. though.
Yeah, you see the water come out of 4 spots instead of 2.
Reverse hydro.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
we got to get the water out of there. That's
Yeah.
the key to success for everybody.
So this isn't really working, so I need for you to project.
Don't worry.
Name, address.
Nick Folkers, 149 Voorhees. So you mentioned that the gallons per hour is now going to be up around 1.8 million?
With the overflow pipe, 36-inch at 1%, which we feel we're pretty confident we get 1%.
And do we know where we're at today?
As far
In
as
terms of what we can handle in terms of flow rate?
right now, when you get these catastrophic storms, rather, I'm trying to think of the drainage area.
I think it's
6 acres, 5 acres?
Yeah,
I think you
about
had 5
5
acres of
acres,
flooding in that area. So if you take that number, that's your storage. Okay. So you weren't moving, obviously, you weren't moving that water out of there. So what we're trying to do is create a little more storage with the 16-inch pipe. If we can get 72-inch pipe, which that's questionable whether or not we can get it. So we're proposing a 60. If we can get a 72, we'll go to a 72. And again, depends on the supply chain. Again, but you're moving it out with a 36-inch pipe. That's where you're going to get that capacity.
Okay.
So if you take that area, basically average depth of flooding, let's say 2.5 feet, because you go from 0 to maybe 4 feet, 5 feet. Take that 6 acres, you'll come up with obviously with a number, with gallons. So we should be able to push that out of there before it gets into obviously first floor of your houses.
So, obviously if we're getting 7 or 8 inches of water per hour, good luck to everyone. But, at 2 to 4 inches, we should be able to
You'll be
weather
fine.
the storm.
The Ida was probably 6 to 7 in 45 minutes, realistically. It was like that, and if anybody, obviously everybody who's probably here, there was no newscast, there was no here it comes, there was nothing. All I can say is, this is the norm, it seems, recently. This isn't the 10 years or 20 years. It just seems like these events are happening more and more and more and more. And you gotta remember something, the county system, best case in the county system is probably a 25-year design storm. That storm was probably a 500-year storm. So 3 inches per hour is a 100-year storm frequency. So, and when I went to school, I don't know about these young kids, that has a 1% chance of happening any day of the week. We're beyond that, way beyond that, for whatever reason.
Well, the 2011 storm was not even a hurricane. The 2011 storm
Well, what I'm
was...
saying is,
Yeah, it was...
the frequencies are happening
More
more and more. Let's look at last week, and I'm not gonna bore anybody. We went from freezing 45 degrees, 35-mile-an-hour winds 2 weeks ago. This weekend, it was 96 degrees. So there's no rhyme or reason to this. It just seems like the weather patterns are definitely in our area have changed
Drastically.
dramatically.
Right, my only last point is, Ida aside, because we know that's a 100-year story, you know, I don't want to build that into an excuse, but like you said, these things are becoming more consistent. And this 900 linear, what are we up to as far as inches per hour? Do you know what I mean? Like, how much rain could possibly fall where we're in jeopardy again? If we put this in.
I think the purpose of this is more, when do we need to move our cars?
Well, okay, let me do address that. You guys are in a situation where even after this is done, you gotta move your cars. Because, and to be honest with you, you also have to seal all your basement windows. Now, I'm not telling you that as a mayor, I'm just telling you that as a co-owner. I have a house in town, I had flooding. At this point, given the weather,
Right, but what I'm saying
these are
is-
just the practical things we gotta do.
How much rain could this handle
When
in an hour?
I was this guy's age, I can remember this at the top of my head, we looked at the drainage area going into here. For some reason, 30 acres stands in my mind. I think it's larger than that, if I'm not mistaken. I can get back to you and tell you exactly what the drainage area is coming into this, into the low point.
Right.
But I believe it's at least 30 acres, or not more. So I could, if you give me your number, or I'll give you
Sure.
my number, we could give you that calculation. Off the top of my head, I don't know it, and I don't want to give you the...
No, then we don't want to do that, yeah.
I mean, I know you're
So
talking
we
about
analyzed the
linear
drainage
gallons
area.
running, you know, but it's also carrying. So it's also carrying from different areas. It's not
Well, I'm
just...
saying, you're getting
you know
water
what I
from
mean?
Oregon.
Oh, listen, I'm getting water from everywhere, apparently. You know, I'm the only one with waterfront property with no water. You know? Serious, I mean, we were an inch and a half off the first floor.
No, I understand.
You know, so, I mean, there's 76,000 gallons already, so you might have to throw another 2 acres onto your bill. You know what I'm saying? But my point is, what kind of a storm will this be able to handle?
I will give you that answer.
You know?
Tomorrow, I don't want to give you the wrong
No,
answer.
I get it.
But
It's
again,
just,
when
you
we
know,
started analyzing this, obviously the first thing, let's come up with the drainage area that comes in.
Right.
See what the choke points are, see what's coming in. So you're coming down Elm, you're going behind the library. Part of it goes behind the library, makes a left-hand turn, comes down Elm.
Mm-hmm.
Makes a left-hand turn, goes through a small ditch that way. You're coming down Manning.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that's coming in, plus the drainage area that's
And
coming in.
Bogert, coming down Bogert as well.
Bogert is high, Fifth is high, you're draining into the valley.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then as you go north, you're probably taking water from the high school,
Oh, without question.
okay?
Without
So,
question.
all of this is channeling to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it can sit, obviously going south, and like you said earlier, Coles Brook went to the Hackensack River. Hackensack River is considered tidal up to the Trestle Bridge for transit, by, right underneath Route 4.
Okay.
From there, it's fluvial flow, which is all the drainage area that's coming into that area.
Sunny
that
Tees and
creates
all that stuff.
Right, exactly. So, my personal opinion, I think there's a little more tidal influence there than what the state and the feds are saying, but that's the mapping that's in place today.
Right.
So all of that backs up. From there, you take, that's picking up Van Saun, that whole area coming in that direction. So once you get down there, there's a lot of drainage area that channelizes into there and eventually gets out to the Hackensack River, obviously flows south into the Atlantic Ocean. But that's not what you have. Like I said, you're not getting backwater.
Listen, I know we're not gonna get rid of it. We gotta slow it down so it can dissipate, is basically what we're doing. You know, we gotta retain it.
I want to retain it, and I want to get it out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when it comes up to a point, you're retaining, and then you're
Right.
allowing this pipe to get rid of that flow before it gets into your houses.
Mhm.
That's the mindset, and that's what we're trying to accomplish, and that's what we will accomplish.
So after all your years of experience, you guys have been doing this a long time, you've seen this plan, you've looked at it, are you happy with it? And I'm saying
If I'm
that,
wrong,
I'm
I'll
not
tell you
being.
what. Am I happy? Yes.
Because again, you've seen what you've done now, and on a point, everybody sitting here, again, we're not engineers, we can possibly think we're engineers, and we go on the internet, you're the engineer. At the end of the day, yes, you are, and at the end of the day, are there any chinks in the armor here at this
If
place?
there's any chinks in the armor, the next stage of the game is to pump it mechanically. That's the only option you have left. And we discussed pumping it mechanically. I can tell you this, you want to see the largest pumps in New Jersey? Go to Little Ferry, behind the sewage treatment plant. They built pumps that sounds like a 747 taking off. Guess what? Storm came in, Little Ferry flooded, and so did Moonachie. So, different scenario, obviously, than what we have here. Worst case scenario, if I'm wrong, then you're gonna have to mechanically lift this water out of there.
So really, we have our backs against the wall in this scenario, in a certain sense.
You don't. If you get a 10-inch storm, a 12-inch storm, a 15-inch storm.
Yeah, of course, everybody's.
Call Greg.
How about we call God?
Are we good? All right, then. If there's no other questions, we're going to close to the public. Are there any other questions? Wait, in the back.
167 Voorhees Avenue. Are we the lowest point in the whole town where we are, in our block? Does all the water run to our block, basically?
I don't think you're the lowest point, but I think what it is, you're in a bowl.
Okay. Why aren't accommodations from the town being taken for that? Meaning, having a truck come, or diverting the water, or doing something. I realize things come up fast, but I've been living in town for about 27 years now. I've seen that man's house underwater 25 years ago. So this isn't a new thing, okay? This has been going on a long time. I just don't understand why more isn't being done. If Voorhees Avenue is a problem, why aren't there police there? Why isn't there firemen there? Why aren't there people trying to divert some of this water? I mean, we could run the water in other areas. Our block fills up first, right? And then my backyard, the water comes all the way to the house, basically. And the water in the backyard does not go away until the street drains. What's that about?
Again, you have restrictions and you have choke points.
Right.
So the idea is to create.
I understand.
Okay, as far as anything else that can be done at this point, all I can tell you is that this mayor and this council said go to work and help these people. That's what I'm
But this summer, we're talking about this summer. What happens if something goes south this summer? We can't get a fireman there? We can't do anything?
Well, I don't believe that the fire department has the ability to mitigate the problem. First of all, they would have to run the water to another block or neighborhoods, and we're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to take somebody's problem and put it into somebody else's problem. But the fire department itself, it's a volunteer fire department. They do great work. But I think what you're suggesting is we pump the water out of Voorhees using one of our engines into another street. Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm suggesting somehow diverting the water. If all these waters are coming from all these different places, aren't there any places that we can divert any of this?
I think you're asking for more infrastructure, and this is...
We're in motion.
We're in motion.
Okay.
We're already doing the infrastructure you're asking for.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure that this summer, is there...
Well, I'm afraid this summer is going to be a bit of a gamble, because nothing that nothing that I believe we're capable of doing, certainly if we are capable, we would do something. Nothing that we're capable of doing can mitigate the current situation, other than keeping the pipes clean, which they are. We can't stop Mother Nature. I wish we could. But we do agree that we need to do something for you, and we're going to spend $1.3 million in the next 7 months to do what we can. But there comes a point where, like a hurricane or some sort of other extremely unpreparable storm that may or may not be able to mitigate. But what we're doing now is to mitigate that what happens on your block is not something unique. There shouldn't be a summer flash storm where every other block in town, they're not getting water and you're getting water. this is the solution we've come up with, and we think it's pretty good. And as Mr. Costa said, we've done everything short of pumping water, and we don't know how practical or whether that's something we can actually afford. But if we need to look into that, we will.
I mean, I think our block is always the first one to close. It's the first one with a wire down, or we have some kind of flare up or something like that. I mean, I've driven through other parts of the town during the rainstorms, and ours seems to be the only one that's affected.
So that isn't, I can understand the way you see that, but there are parts in the south part of town that flood.
Down the bottom of the hill by the train station, that's a disaster down there, I'm sure.
Yeah, so,
Obviously, the opposite side is the
Yeah.
east side of the track.
but I promise you, we have consulted our experts. We have looked at our budget, and we have dedicated a tremendous amount to that, given the fact that this is, to some degree, being caused by this superstructure, infrastructure, that did work for many decades, but is not working in the current weather conditions, the current climate.
I have one last question. Is that again, Voorhees. We're on Voorhees Avenue. Sure. After this hurricane, we had a lot of places in town that were really badly hit. Will there be any, due to other parts of town, or maybe working or doing some sort of construction in other parts of town? Will that affect our project at all going forward?
No.
If anybody knows me, if you add a square inch in this town, you put in a seepage pit. So as they build these larger homes, and people hate me, they probably hate me because of the cost. Every new home that's gone up here for the past, I'm gonna say 5 years, 10 years, ever since this town had a lawsuit with a problem many years ago, every house that goes in, even if you build a small addition, you're putting in seepage pits to collect the roof water. Now, has it helped? I don't know. I think the intensity of the storm's got so much greater than what that can actually, the capacity that has. But that's what we've implemented for many, many, many years. To try to basically do something because of the size of the homes that are being built in the town. But again, your problem is isolated. You're in the bottom of the bowl there. You're higher on every side. So obviously that's where the low point exists. And again, the council has said, solve it, try to solve it, and get as close as you can to solving this. And again, I think we did enough homework and brainstorm this thing, and I think this is the solution for you guys.
Well, it's probably helped that you come on Voorhees before.
My insurance company is going to back me up 100,000%.
You probably, Voorhees Avenue's been on your agenda for 10 years. I mean, you sat down with everybody at this. You came and talked to us 10 years ago.
I thought my insurance company was going to cover me. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, see you later. Well, the good news is this council is going to write a check. So I can talk a lot, but I don't have the checkbook. They have the checkbook, and they're willing to actually write the check. So really, you should commend these people that are up on this stage because they absolutely care about you guys. Oh, no, I don't doubt that. How real is that 1.3, Mayor?
It's real. It came from ARPA, so it's
No,
just.
I'm not saying you don't have it. I'm saying how real is it based on the scope of the work?
Well, we have to go out to bid, so that's the second part he talked about. If you want to come back when that comes up, we can certainly make sure that you know about it when it comes up for resolution. All right? But I think we need to get on with the,
If I may add, bid openings are public.
yeah.
They're held like at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. And so you could sit here while I read the bids and you'll know, okay, it kind of is within target. They may have to go out for more money or there may be leftover money to do other things, but you could see it in real time, even though everything is draft and has to be evaluated, but at least you know every step of the way, bid openings are public.
So we can let you know when that's going to happen too? Great. You're welcome. All right, we're good? Okay. Motion to close to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All of you, what you did tonight is exactly what the public should always do. You held us to the fire, you came, you asked questions. Thank you. Great job. Rob, Greg, Jason, thank you very, very much.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Later, Jason.
Yeah?
I'd like to bring up another issue or
Gene, is it on the agenda?
Is that how it works?
Well, the first one is to open for something on the agenda. The second one is any issue you like.
All right, so I have to wait then.
I'm sorry. We
How
do.
long do I have to wait?
I would say everything else should move ahead pretty quickly. 20 minutes, 15,
That's fine.
with any luck.
That's fine.
All right. I'm going to borrow your sheet. Okay. Okay, appointments and personnel changes.
Public comments.
Oh,
No, we
I
were
took yours
just
by
did
accident.
public comment on the agenda.
Any item on the agenda.
Oh.
That's the mayor's. I took it, I took all the papers from there.
Yeah, I thought I had said open it to any item on the agenda, but maybe we just opened the Voorhees. Okay, could I have a motion to open any item on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
My husband's over
Any
here.
opposed, any abstain?
Her husband's over
Gene,
here.
is this about something on the agenda? You said no, but I'm going to ask one more time.
Oh. But this one I have to abstain on.
Can you tell us the topic?
Basically, renovation of the curbs around my area in town and safety.
Without objection, we're going to open for any topic. Is there objection?
No objection.
Hearing none. Gene, come up, say your name, your address, and go ahead, bring it up. I wish we had known before Rob and Jason left, but we'll do our best.
Gene Getter from 880 Fifth Avenue, right here in town. I'm here really to talk about the renovation of the curbs, specifically around my area, the junior high Kenwood area.
Yeah.
And basically, when this started, well, I guess my first question is, what is driving this? Is it strictly ADA, ADA edict of the ADA, or is it basically the wheelchair slash motor scooter community? What is driving these curbs to be done? Because obviously, ultimately, why this is being done is for safety of the wheelchair community, correct?
Lizette,
Right.
if you could address that. Lizette Apertola, RBA, Gene.
Okay.
Hi. This project we do every year, and it is to meet federal requirements under the Americans with Disability Act. And the bid specs, as they're drawn, they have to meet compliance with those federal regulations, and they are reviewed by the New Jersey Department of Transportation. And the program that the superintendent has done is, whatever ramps are done, then that street will be paved. So the 2021 ramps, this project is currently underway, these streets will be paved starting the end of this week. And then we're going out to bid for the 2022 ADA ramps, and those streets will be on the schedule to be paved next year.
So this is done throughout the town. This is not just because it's close to the junior high, correct?
It's done throughout the town.
Okay. What's the funding on this? Is this come from the infrastructure bill? Is it general funding? Is it a grant? What drives this?
All this comes, since it's mandated, the borough has to provide the funding for it, and it's part of our capital budget every year.
Okay. One of the things that comes to mind in talking to neighbors, I'm only like only one letter was received from my neighbors telling us about the upcoming renovation. 1 out of 6. Now, I don't know if this was something randomly done with the letters, but it would have been nice to get a letter. My neighbor, not to make a joke out of this, my neighbor who's new to the area comes out. He don't know what is going on. They're taking up his whole sidewalk. He sees his grass go crazy, and what is going on? Now, he obviously found out through going out and talking to the men, but there was no letter, and I don't understand why there wasn't a letter. I understand why this is being done. You explain this is ADA. I understand that. I've seen this going on for a long time. Why wasn't a letter sent out?
I know the borough engineer sent out letters.
Not to us, not to the 5 of us. There was only 1 out of 6 in our area.
Well,
Again,
I know-
and ironically, the one who got the letter was the lawyer. That's just ironic.
And the contractor, whenever any type of work is being done, whether it's curb work, other concrete work, sewer work, road paving, contractors are required to notify residents within 2 to 3 days of the work being performed.
Okay.
So that way, it could be worked out with the
Did
police
not do it.
department to enter
All
the
right,
property.
all right. Basically, they knocked on a door to ask our neighbor across the street if they can cut down her bushes. Okay, that was done at the last minute. They were started cutting them down. The other thing the reason I wanted to talk about this also was the safety, and if you can just bear with me for a second. I've had a couple of nasty falls here. I happen to be visually impaired, and I walk around town. I had a couple of nasty falls on sidewalks that are like this, okay? Now, I should be more, careful with my walking, but I did a nasty fall like a week. I tumble over. My question is this, and this is not something to be solved tonight, is that if we're doing all of this, and there's no disregard to the wheelchair community, I must tell you, and I say this in all due respect, I have never, in all my 30 years here, seen a wheelchair go up on these ramps. Now, maybe they do every day, I don't see them. But my thing is, and when I walk, I would want these sidewalks at least to be done level. Now, this might seem like a very small problem, but to me, the thousands of dollars, and maybe you're getting this from the, like you said, from the funding from the infrastructure, the ADL bill, but why couldn't they just get these sidewalks to be more level? A lot of the sidewalks in town are in disrepair, and I've heard there's a person that goes around and is supposed to inspect the sidewalks. Any truth to that? Is there any truth? I mean, there's sidewalks that are falling apart. Again, this is a small amount of the sidewalks. But my question is, why couldn't that be done, or is that something that's up to the homeowner to correct?
The curb, since.
The actual sidewalk when it goes out like that.
The curb is the responsibility of the municipality under the federal law, but the sidewalk slabs are the responsibility of the property owner to replace. If the municipality, and municipalities have phased this out over the years, if municipalities do sidewalk replacement, then special assessments would have to go on to the property owners. But that is a practice that has been phased out throughout New Jersey. I've been in New Jersey local government 17 years, so before I started.
So if there is a sidewalk in disrepair, what is the responsibility of myself or a person around town when they see a sidewalk in disrepair? Are we supposed to quote-unquote knock on somebody's door, report it to the ministry?
What you're asking now is for legal advice, and that's...
No. I'm not even looking, not even legal advice. I want to know, just from a safety standpoint, I'm not even looking, I could have broke my wrist. And I'm not looking to sue or anything. All I'm saying is, from a safety standpoint, isn't it incumbent better for the town to make sure these sidewalks are in good repair? Just like fixing a pothole.
It's the homeowner's responsibility.
Okay, so then what does a resident supposed to do?
You can call the borough and complain about the
complain
particular
about-
sidewalk, and then we can send our inspector out to take a look and then put a notice on the door. If the inspector feels that it's a violation, they'll put a violation notice on the door. They'll tell them they have to repair it, but it's really the homeowner's responsibility. If you fall on a homeowner's sidewalk and you get injured, you've got your legal recourses that you can take against that homeowner because they let their sidewalk stay in disrepair.
Does that happen a lot? Do people report that, or is that something that's practical?
I'm not in the borough administrator's office, but I would imagine that there's a lot of different complaints that are lodged, be it sidewalks, the grass is too tall, my neighbor's lawnmower was turned on at 7:50 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. They get all sorts of complaints.
And I thank you for telling me. One last question. With all this work being done by the town, the DPW involved, normally when you hire a contractor, that contractor is responsible, and you would call him or her if you're not satisfied. In this particular case, things that are going on, I won't bring all the particulars, if we're not satisfied with what goes on, what recourse or who do we call to report we're not happy with the job?
You would call the borough.
Call the borough.
The way it works when a project is underway, like the young gentleman that was here, Greg O'Donnell, he is the inspector for Rob Costa, for our borough engineer. Projects are evaluated, they are inspected, and they have to meet certain standards. If they don't meet the standards, we hold the contractor to task. We go after a bond as part of the bidding process, and you receive a contract, there is a performance bond. Once the project is closed out.
Performance bond? Excuse me, what was it?
Performance bond, yes.
What is that?
That's why you do the work, to make sure you're doing the work
Oh, okay.
according to what our requirements are. Once the job is done, every contractor has to put up a maintenance bond for 2 years. So if in the course of those 2 years, and there's a situation, I believe in Bogart, where the sidewalk was raveling, since it was still within the 2-year maintenance bond, our engineer had the contractor come back and correct the deficiency at the contractor's own expense. So there is a provision under local public contracts law that provides that type of leeway. There's a performance bond for while the work is being done. There are inspectors on site, and then there's the maintenance bond that's always for 2 years.
So I could tell my fellow neighbors that they have 2 years if things are not to their liking.
Now, if it's built to spec, right, if the contractor builds it the way the engineer specs it out, okay, she's talking about a 2-year performance bond in that if the pipes break, if
The concrete
there's
comes apart.
concrete, you know what I'm saying, if something they did
All right.
that is deficient in those 2 years, they have to replace it. But if they build it per the specs that the town gives them, and it's just simply not working, it's not their fault then. It comes
Okay.
back to the town.
I mean,
If they build it per spec,
yeah.
they're done. They get their, we release
It's
their
always have looked
performance.
better, I have to tell you, they have looked better. I just wanted to bring this up, I just wanted to bring it up. I know it's not a major issue, but I wanted just to make you aware. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Gene. Do my
Have a
best to
good night.
comment.
Thank you.
All right. Anything? No? All right. Can I have a motion to close to the public on any item on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed, any abstention? All right then, appointments and personnel change. Could I have a motion and a second, do we, since it's appointments, we need a roll call for this?
Yes.
Okay. Could I have a motion and second, when I finish reading this into the record? Approve the appointments of Preeti Darwal, Steve Shalit, and Claire Ritza Rodriguez to the Cultural Affairs Advisory Committee for a 2-year term through December 31st, 2023. Approve.
Do them all, right?
Yeah. Approve the resignation of Zachary Link, laborer in the Department of Public Works, effective May 26, 2022. Approve the salary increase of Matthew Polandic, laborer in the Department of Public Works, from an annual Labor 2, Step 1 salary of $37,142 to Labor 2, Step 4, $43,637, effective June 1st, 2022. Approve the resignation of Victor Fonseca, senior bus driver, effective May 20th, 2022. Approve the hire of Simon Kurvoku, would that even be close? Kurvorik, as a part-time summer help in the Department of Public Works at an hourly rate of $15 per hour or 29 hours per week, effective June 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, roll call.
Councilwoman Bastoud? Yes. Councilman Kanigo?
Yes.
Council President Kaufman?
Yes, except I'm abstaining for Steve Shallett.
Okay. Councilwoman Kinsella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Larry? Yes.
Okay, very good. I think we just read these into the records. There's no vote for this. Mayor's appointment. Appointing Gary Esposito as alternate 1, unexpired term of Lou Grasso to the Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2023. Appointing Colin Bastide as alternate 2, unexpired Gary Esposito to the Land Use Board for a term ending December 31st, 2022. So there are monthly reports, Library, Historic Commission, Land Use for the public's inspection if they wish to stop at the clerk and see those. Second reading, a hearing on ordinances. So first we have to open the public and close, and then we need to do an adoption. Following ordinance published herein was first read by title on May 9th, 2022, and posted on the bulletin board outside the clerk's office. Ordinance 22-10, an ordinance to amend the chapter a chapter of the revised general ordinance of the Borough of River Edge entitled Recreation and Cultural Affairs Department. Could I have a motion and second to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? Okay, before we ask for the public comment or questions, Ms. Apertola, if you could give us an abstract.
The current ordinance says that if you are a member of any board in the borough, you cannot be a member of the Cultural Affairs Advisory Board. And this revises it to eliminate that restriction with the exception that members of the Recreation Commission cannot be members of the Cultural Affairs Advisory Board.
Okay. Any questions, Ray? Okay, anyone, there's no one else, so we're going to now close to the public. Could I have a motion and second to close to the public?
So moved.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? Okay, now for the adoption. Could I have a motion and a second to adopt 22-10?
So moved.
Second.
This is debatable. Is there debate? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Bastide?
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo?
Yes.
Council President Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mallal-Larry?
Yes.
Okay, could I have a motion and second to move resolutions 22-169 by consent through 22-185?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there debate? Hearing none. This is roll call, correct? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bastide?
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo?
Yes.
Council President Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mallal-Larry?
Yes.
Could I have the Finance Chair, Council President Kaufman, please move 22-186 payment of the bills?
At a regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of River Edge, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, held on May 23rd, 2022, be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of River Edge approve the following expenditures. Current fund, $3,233,753.26. Capital fund, $397,335.71. Grant fund, $62,053.61. Trust other fund, $10,662.50. Payroll fund, $16,048. Developers escrow fund, $1,530. Self-insurance trust fund, $20,406.02. Recreation trust fund, $3,088.92. So moved.
Thank you.
Okay, this also requires a roll call, right? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bastide?
Yes.
Councilman Kanigo?
Yes.
Council President Kaufman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinsella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Mallal-Larry?
Yes.
Okay, new business, camp, summer camp refunds. Dario, I think you asked for this to be on?
Yeah, in perusing Facebook, I read some complaints, I guess, on the this is River Edge page or River Edge Community, one of them. Some people had sent in, I guess, their checks for summer camp, but their circumstances changed, and they reached out to the rec director, according to them, didn't hear back from them, and were complaining about it. I thought perhaps we shouldn't be taking their money if they can't send the kids to camp. So I'd like to talk about a policy for refunds, a reasonable policy if possible.
Lizette, are you prepared to talk about what the current policy is?
I looked at the fee schedule, and there is a range for camp. There's nothing that says that the fee is refundable or non-refundable. In a private municipality I worked with, they would do refunds and keep an administrative cost. It was only $18, but that was built into the fee ordinance. So if the governing body wishes to refund the fees, we could do so. It has to be done by resolution. We have to find out who paid, how much they paid, since there is a range, and then authorize a refund and look at the fee schedule anyway to come up with a concrete number and specify that the fees are refundable, and if there's to retain some type of administrative fee, whether it's the $18 I cited, $20, $5 should, or any fee at all.
So would there be, is it typical for a refund to be, when they are considered, that be considered up until a certain point? Because asking for a refund the day before the camp opens, of course, would be unreasonable. So would that also be something that would be, because we're going to be setting a precedent, so I want to make sure we do that correctly. Is that something you can speak to, Lizette, or maybe not at this time?
Well, since it doesn't exist in the code.
No, I meant what would
you
other
could-
towns might be doing.
Some do it that on a sliding scale, so there's certain dates where there's a cutoff 100%, 75%, 50%. There could be a cutoff date unless there's proof of, like, for a medical reason.
Okay.
And then that could be, then, if
Sure.
there's a sliding scale, that can be waived. So it's pretty much open to whatever the governing body decides that is best for the residents.
Okay,
I just have, it's been a long time since I've had kids in camp, but I don't recall whether when you do the registration, if there is anything that talks about a refund policy, and it just maybe hasn't been implemented, or I don't know. So I'd like to know what, if we have a policy on the books today,
Well, it's
before
not-
we start changing,
It's not in
maybe
the
it works.
code, but I think it's through Community Pass, so I don't know if there's a disclaimer.
Yeah,
in
so that's my
Community
point,
Pass.
is let's see what was disclosed to the residents during their registration. If there's a policy in place and we think it's good, maybe it just needs to be enforced in a more timely fashion. I don't know, before we start recreating the wheel.
absolutely. No, I think that makes perfect sense. Michelle?
I agree.
I agree. I don't remember, I've done, registered for things on Community Pass, but it's been for like the tennis courts and whatever, so I don't remember.
Yeah, it's
I don't
been like
recall-
3 years, I think,
Yeah, I
since
don't
we registered
recall
our
if there
kids.
was something on, but that makes sense, though.
But
I'd like
that-
to check it out, yeah.
That all being said, two separate questions. One is the policy going forward, and if there is one in place. And the second question is, if there isn't one in place, what do we do about, I think there's 2 residents that we're talking about the refunds for this year's camp.
I don't know if the council has objection. I myself, if I was voting member, I wouldn't have objection as long as we couched it in language that prevented us from creating a practice that would be troublesome later on down the line.
And I think one way or another, we should look at the policy, and if we need to amend it, and, maybe a sliding scale within a certain amount of time, and
That's
then.
usually how they.
Yes, I
have
think
it
that's
on, like
usual.
other things. By the
Hotels
I don't
and
know,
all-
15
yeah, yeah.
days,
Right.
you get 75%, or closer to a week, 50%.
Okay. So, Lizette, is that something you could do by the next meeting? I mean,
I will try.
if you can't, we understand because, you have, we may have manpower questions. So, and if it needs to be pushed off, as long as we're trying to do something for these people by August, that would be good.
I mean, if it gets refunded after the fact, I'm sure they're not
That's
gonna mind,
fine.
as long
Right,
as it
that's-
gets refunded, but we have
And
things
if
we
you,
have to do.
and I think the council definitely said they want to look towards a sliding scale. If this is something that we should do, or something you'd recommend to us, as well as whether we should retain an administrative fee. Okay? Are we good? All right, any other new business? Councilwoman Bastide.
Thank you. Last week, there was, some vegetation was not collected in some of the districts, particularly in my district, and it came to my attention that we pay 2 different rates for recycling and for vegetation, and the vegetation was being thrown in the garbage truck. So I want to make sure that we're not overpaying when the collection company has made a mistake, their truck is broken down, and they haven't collected when they said they are, so that we're not paying more than we should be paying. So I'm hoping that the DPW superintendent has made that clear to the garbage and the vegetation
And
collection
I've seen that in the past, too. You saw it recently, or Colin saw it recently, but I saw it,
Yep.
must have been about a year and a half ago, because that's where I got the misunderstanding that we were paying the same rate, because I had brought it up, I think it was with, maybe even more than a year, because it was before you were here. So it may have been when Ray was here. I had brought it up to him, and I said, I saw them putting both of them together, are we paying the same rate? And he told me, no, yes, we're paying the same rate at the time. So that's why I let it go.
Right, because I think, Lizette, you had said it's $80 a ton for garbage and $23 a ton for vegetation.
Yeah, it's
So
quite a
that's quite a
difference.
difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we're paying the garbage rate for them not collecting the vegetation on the correct day, we should not be paying for that.
So if you could ask them, what they're going to do by way of compensation?
Jason's on it.
Jason's on it. Beautiful.
Just wanted to make everybody aware.
All right,
Thank you.
garbage. Garbage, vegetation. Anything else? All right. Old business.
Just really quick, on tonight's consent agenda, you see a lot of authorizations that were funded with our capital budget. The stopple period ended, I believe, either Friday or Saturday last week. And one of them was to approve the engineering services for this Voorhees project. Tomorrow is the bid opening for the 2022 ADA ramps, combined with the resurfacing of this parking lot and for Company 2. So hopefully the numbers are good. And we are holding our pre-construction meeting for this year's road paving program, and we'll take advantage of the middle school schedule of having an extended closure for Memorial Day to start paving that side of town and then move over. We are the first town in the Riverside Co-op being phased.
Thank you, Lizette. Awesome. Don't tell Little Fairy. Anything else?
I just had a quick update on the farmer's market, hoping we can make this come together. We're making some progress. It's not done yet. But we do have a tentative farmer. If I get one or two more vendors, we have 4 vendors committed so far. And Councilwoman Kinsella was nice enough to contact everyone on Cultural Affairs to see if someone wants to be the manager. If anyone knows someone who wants to be the manager, let me know. We're guessing it's going to take like 20 hours of work ahead of time to get all the paperwork done. And then tentatively, farmer's market will be starting June 30th from 3 to 7 on Thursdays, and there's like 2 hours of setup time ahead of that. So figure a 7-hour work day on Thursday in the afternoon through the early evening.
Yes.
So hoping to get it together.
Thank you.
We'll see. It's not done yet, but working on it.
Okay, excellent. Any other old business?
I neglected a new
No,
business. I'm
please
sorry.
go.
It's really more of a question. I've been getting some questions regarding all the trucks that are in the former cultural center or the parking lot, why they're there, how long they're going to be there. We just repaved that site. Who authorized the trucks to be there? Getting a lot of questions, so I'm just wondering if there's an update or any information on that.
That's the Continental Avenue project. They're still working on some punch list items, and one of the items is doing some of the plantings that were involved.
Those huge trucks have to sit there for planting?
Well, it's all, I don't know what other punch list items there are. I just know that as an example is one of them. But there were still several items. The project cannot be closed out until everything is done by the contractor, and then the project is released and closed out by the engineer. So I'll find out from our project manager.
I just hope there's no damage to that parking lot with those large trucks sitting there for weeks.
If there is, then
There is, they gotta fix it.
Yeah. And then we're gonna have to hear again why we're repaving it for the third time.
Yeah, but we won't be paying for that repaving.
Perception is everything.
No, you are right.
Are we putting
100%.
That'd be great to get an update.
speed radar back up? There used to be a, when
Solar.
you went down. It's still there?
They're not
Oh,
there.
no,
I
I-
noticed that it's that
Right,
radar
right.
thing is
The
not
25, no, I was just saying solar.
Oh,
It
so-
was-
I'm
yeah,
sorry. I thought you said it's still there.
Sorry.
there. No, I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, no, it's not, when I
wondered if
walked
it
last
came
week, it
down
wasn't there, so unless
permanently?
it got put back up this week, I don't think it's still there.
I'll double check with Jason.
Yeah, please. Thank you. Any other old or new business? Okay, we need to open up for comments to the public. Could I have a motion to open up the comments on anything?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Come on up, Ray.
I have
Full name and address, sorry.
Ray Stitz, 210 Mohawk Drive, River Edge. 2 updates.
Yeah, good.
One's a good one. I'm working on getting a memory stone for Joe Majiri.
Nice.
And I have a local stonesmith, whatever. He's working on it, and it's going to be free of charge.
Wow, thank you. And
So-
we should send him a letter of thank you. Maybe we can do that when it's done. If you can let us know.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be sending the council a whole letter, and the probably we're going to be ready for Veterans Day, because it's not going to be ready for Memorial Day, and to do it right, I want to get his family here and everything. The second thing is, as I told you, I was going to put up a Ukrainian flag and everything.
Yes.
That one was those were ripped down. So I ordered 2 more.
Yeah.
And it took 2 days for them to be ripped down. Now, yeah, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to order 6 this time. And they tear 2 down, I'll put another 2 up. They tear 2 down. And I'm doing it the right way, Mr. Attorney. I'm putting it on the fabric of the fence, which is allowed.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
So, I just rode past it Sunday morning, and oh my gosh, it's gone. You know, I put it up Friday, and it's down Sunday morning. So, we shall persist.
Thank you, Ray.
But that's all I have. Thank you for everything that you do. I know you don't get that much, but
We appreciate it. You're very nice of you to say so.
Thanks, Ray.
Have a good night.
All right. Seeing no other comments from the public, could I have a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any council comments that haven't been already brought up? Because we've already had a few.
Just congratulations again to all the teams.
Yes, exactly right.
Just that,
Sure.
there will be a pride flag raising ceremony on June 1st at 6 p.m. in Memorial Park.
You want to wear our shirts then?
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to thank the Stigma Free Committee for pulling off their 2nd annual Music in the Park on Saturday. It was very nice and raised awareness about the Stigma Free initiative in town.
Yeah. They put a lot of time and effort into that. I saw some pictures with Arlene and a couple other people.
Absolutely did. Yep.
They do a great job with that. We're grateful. And they were selling green T-shirts,
They
right?
have shirts left over. If any council member is interested, Arlene Faustini can get them for you if you're interested in purchasing one.
Okay.
It was designed by a Riverdale High School student.
Oh, cool.
Cool. Any other comments? All right. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Excellent work.